In this next lesson, we will work on expanding the outside part of the rim to fill in some details on the base of our Volk racing rim. So let's go ahead and get started. What we will do first is hit F9, which will switch us into a vertex mode. Now from here, we're going to select a few of the polygons. Well, for me, actually, I just want to see which side I'm working with when it comes to the other views. Okay, so now that I've got that established, I can move forward. So let's go ahead and select this row of vertices. Now, if we move our verts in like this, we could extrude the undercarriage of the rim, adding our details on the inside, but then we'd have to create more extruded polygons to expand the back of the rim, and it will become a total confusion. Granted, there are infinite possibilities on how to make all of this happen. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and push our verts out instead of in. At this point, I'm just eyeballing how far to push these verts out, so use your better judgment. Now, earlier in this series, I mentioned finding multiple reference images on this racing rim. And with these images, you could use it as a guide to help see how far you want to expand the back of this rim. Okay, great. Now, our next step will be to hit F11 and switch to faces mode. And we're going to select all of the outside polygons. With these polygons selected, let's go ahead and hit Control E, which is our extrude. And we're going to offset our polygons a bit. Now we will tap the G key to restart and continue to extrude our polygons. From here, we will just extrude these polygons down. Now, I want to be sure I'm pushing these polygons down far enough to leave some clearance, simply because we're going to extrude more polygons down a bit more in just a few moments. Okay, so I think pushing them around here should be far enough. All right, fantastic. Now let's take our scale tool here and just scale our polygons in just a bit. Remember, I'm just eyeballing this right now, so using my knowledge on how a rim actually looks from the top center. So maybe even scaling this up just a bit can help as well. All right, looking great so far. Now let's take our insert edge loop tool and let's make an edge loop around here. This way we can select a new group of polygons on just one side and then we'll work on adding details from there. Great, now let's go ahead and select these polygons, just the ones on this side. And we're going to use the selection of polygons to add some more details, and like I said earlier, this is where we will be pushing those polys down since we now have that clearance. Alright, now let's hit Control E to extrude, and we're going to offset these polygons a bit. Now this is somewhat repetitive, like how we did with the first set of polygons, so from here you should already know what happens next. It's just with these polygons, we're offsetting them a bit further together. Now let's go ahead and tap the G key. And now we will bring the thickness down a touch. Maybe something like that. And we will grab our scale tool and just scale in those polygons a bit. Just add a bit of bevel. All right, this looks good. Now, let's tap our G key again, and we will just offset these polygons some more, bringing them close together once more. All right, this is looking good. Let's restart the extrude tool over again with the G key, and let's bring our thickness down once more. This will go down just a bit further. And finally, let's take our scale tool and just bring those polygons in just a touch. Just taking a look here. All right, great. Now finally, let's take our insert edge loop tool and let's add a bunch of edge loops to the edges of all of our corners here. Now for some, you can leave them as they are without adding any edge loops, but you're going to get that smooth curvy look to your rim. But when you actually look at a car rim, you will see that most would have like a slight sharp edge to it on certain aspects of the rim. In this case, as I said, I'm just eyeballing this based on experience from looking at a rim. All right, this looks pretty good. Now let's go ahead and smooth our model and we'll take a look at what we got. All right, this is looking pretty good. Now we're almost finished with this rim. Now, like I said, there are infinite possibilities on how you want your model to look. There's no right or wrong when it comes to modeling because it's your creation. I've actually went along and redone this part of the rim a few times, and I came up with something like this. It's very basic, and it gets the point across, making it look like a rim. In reality, this part of the rim isn't shown because of the tire being wrapped around it. So feel free to experiment with different versions of this rim. Now, in the next lesson, we're going to add some details inside the rim, since it's looking a bit boring. We're also eventually going to work on adding holes in the center of the rim where the lug nuts would go. So stay tuned, and I will see you in the next module.